Call on Daw Khin Hla, who, thank you very much, who is also from Rohingya blogger and originally from Mongdor in northern Arakan State. Thank you very much.
Distinguished dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to speak here today. I am Daw Khin Hla, a Rohingya woman. I was born in Buthidaung Township of Arakan State in 1953. Until 2002, before departure as a refugee from Burma, I worked as a government middle school teacher. Educators and teachers are held in high social status in Burmese national culture. My parents were born in Arakan and were buried in the Arakan soil. My grandparents were born there. They live and work in all their lives, both under the British colonial rule and after Burma's independence in 1948. They too died as full and equal citizens of our country, Burma. In fact, my grandfather, named Hu Aduzalil, sent a letter to clarification as to his citizenship status as an indigenous Muslim or Arakan or Rakhine in 1949, 1 year after independence. The Ministry of Justice, TIA Thana, replied officially. The official letter was dated 18 December 1949. The step from the letter is, it is to inform you that, according to your affidavit, you need not apply for the citizenship certificate as you belong to one of the indigenous races of the Union of Burma, as defined to the Section 3.1 of the Union Citizenship 1948, Burma Act No. 66 of 1948. In the early 1950s, when the Burmese government introduced the National Registration Card, Rohingyas were issued this legal identification as a national of the country. We have absolutely no problem to obtain legal IDs. The then government of Burma, including the military leaders, both in the region and in the central administration in Rangoon, treated us the respect and appreciation as the one of the ethnic people of the new Burma. We enjoyed basic citizenship rights and official recognition as a distinct ethnic community well into early 1970s. We were broadcasting in our own mother tongue, Rohingya, on Burma Broadcasting Service, the only national radio station before television arrived in Burma, 3 times a week, starting in 1961, because we Rohingyas were 75 majority in the 3 towns near Bangladesh. We are administrators has separate district called Mayu. When I was young student, we Rohingya children had full access to schooling. We enjoyed full freedom of movement. We could move from one neighbor to another, from one village to another, from one town to another, and from one state to another within Burma. There was not even the idea, let alone a national policy, of severely restricting our marriage, child, and family size. But this all changed when General Ne Win, well known for his violent streak as a person and xenophobia toward Christian, Muslim, European, Indian, Chinese, so on. He considered anyone look different, believe in different God, or talk different as a completely untrustworthy. Indeed, anyone deemed untrustworthy is perceived as a threat to nationality. One of the major General Ne Win government, with the push for anti-Rohingya Rakhine nationalists, was the passage of 1982 Citizenship Act. The Citizenship Act stripped us us of our nationality status and erase our ethnic identity. After the racially motivated law came into effect in the fall of 1982, hundreds of thousands of Rohingyas who had held national registration IDs were issued temporary registration card or white card so-called. In early 2015, the Burmese government de-recognized the white cards and confiscated them, rendering the Rohingya people absolutely without any semblance or proof of their standing as a Burmese citizen and lawful resident in our country. Today, nearly 1 million of our fellow Rohingya people have absolutely no legal existence as a people. Thousands of my own fellow Rohingyas live in ghetto-like conditions where armed guards stand ready to shoot and abuse. My brother, who Shwelaphu was the chairman of Township Development and Peace Council in Shan State during the military government led by General Tan Shui, but he was fired from his job in 1995 just because he is a Muslim. Even as we are discriminated, some of my cousin and one of my sister are still civil servants. We were not discriminated much till 1978, but since after King Dragon operation, there were many restrictions for ordinary people. Sometimes civil servants were also discriminated and tortured. After enacted 1992 citizenship law, only civil servants could travel outside of Arakan State, but since 1992, the border security force has called Nasaka was in place, and many restrictions against Rohingya were imposed, such as birth, marriage, movement, health, and education. After disbanding Nasaka, the Burmese government has formed border guard police, and the restrictions are still in place, although today so-called the democratic government led by Daw Khin Hla is ruling the country. When I was young, there was peace between Rakhine and Rohingya communities. But since 2012, the two communities are separated. I didn't face any problem when I studied at school and university. But since 2012, Rohingya students cannot join the university anymore. And the Rohingya youth have no future at all. And they are not allowed to work any government offices. Even they do their own businesses, they are started, and finally many of them are taking risky journey to Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, etc. Being a Rohingya, at first I suffered at age 9. Even my father, who was a police officer and fought for Burma independence in Arakan region along with British troops in 1962, when the late dictator Ne Win confiscated all properties of the people. The authority didn't spare even his properties. I couldn't control my tears by seeing the tension of my father. Even I was too young. As all saving properties were confiscated, we faced a lot of difficulties even for studying. In 1978, when the government launched King Dragon operation, I was one of the eyewitnesses. I saw how Rohingya people were threatened, extorted, tortured, and abused. I was pregnant at that time, and I saw from my window how the people were fleeing at night and how their properties, houses were burned down. I saw all these things with my own eyes. I was very much scared when I saw my neighbors. The teacher and his family were arrested by the military security troops. 3 years later, I faced another horrifying situation again. Has the government made a long-term plan to wipe out all educated Rohingyas from the town? They arrested many educated without any reason. They targeted my husband too. He was a senior auditor with the Ministry of Cooperative. At midnight, about 12, the military surrounded our house and they took my husband away. They questioned him the whole night and released after extorting 300 chats. The sum which we had to give was salary of both, as we had 3 children. We faced a lot of difficulties for that extortion. However, we got support from the parents who are making little money with their pension salaries. To escape further persecution, we had to move capital Rangoon because of the increasingly repressive treatment by the authorities. Many other educated, including many of my relatives, had to flee to the neighboring country, Bangladesh. The Rohingya people who couldn't escape are still suffering. After moving to Rangoon, even everything was fine. I was very much disappointed when I attended the refresher training, although the training was named Refreshment Training for the Teachers. The special lecture was included that the Bengali people in Arakan State made it up to 4 wives and have 20 to 30 children, and many others hatred against Rohingya people, for which I was very much worried that the situation in Arakan will become worse. As I talk today, the situation in Arakan is like the people are living an open-air prison. Since then, I started thinking to leave the country, as I could imagine the situation for Muslims will become the most worsened. In 2002, all of my family members reunited in one country, but unfortunately later, after 3 years, we had to separate again. Now we are in 3 different countries, UK, USA, and Germany. After I arrived in the United Kingdom, 1 year later, the massacre took place in Arakan State, and my 2 cousin brothers were killed, and all of my relatives live in Situa, internally displaced now. Again, in late 2016, more than 1,000 Rohingyas were brutally killed, murdered, burned alive, and many hundreds of women and young girls were raped, and thousands of houses were burned to the ground by military security troops under the pretext counter-insurgency campaign. Today, we are still less in our own country. Even as for me, my grandfather had a certificate that he belonged to the indigenous race of Burma. Now I am recognized as a citizen. I am not recognized as a citizen. My father served for British Frontier Police Force since 1930 and led for Burma Police for more than 3 decades. I have graduated from Rangoon University, yet today I am accused as illegal Bengali immigrant. We have many evidence. We are long settled and native to Kingdom of Arakan. Yet our historical facts and evidence have been ignored by Burmese government since 1962. I urge the international community to stand up for us, the Rohingya, who have been subjected to what Professor Amartya Sen called a genocide. I want to say in conclusion, the government of Myanmar or Burma is instrumental in the worsening flight of the Rohingya. Burma's rulers since 1970s are fully responsible for the violence against and destruction of us, the Rohingya. We are not destroyed by the communal prejudice from Rakhine Buddhists. We are being destroyed by the central government policies, which including giving local ultra-racists a blanket impunity, as they attempt to harm us mentally and physically. Thank you for hearing our stories.
Thank you very much. If you could stay there a moment. Any questions from the panel?
Well, just to thank you very much for sharing with us your very painful experience over many, many years. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we're now going to move